I went ahead and listened to that. It's called Call Her Daddy and not Call Me Daddy. So one of my jokes doesn't make any sense anymore because I thought the podcast on which Kamala Harris graced us with her presence was called Call Me Daddy. That was wrong. It's called Call Her Daddy, which literally makes no sense unless you're into some kinky stuff, unless she identifies as a daddy. I don't know who Alex Cooper is. I've seen all of the insults and names leveled against her, but it doesn't matter. I went ahead and listened to that god-awful podcast. I did it so that you don't have to. And it was, I won't say 44 minutes of the most mind-rotting drivel imaginable, because there was a 4-minute intro and like a bit of an outro. So it was about 40 minutes, maybe 38 minutes of the most mind-numbing drivel you can possibly imagine. And it's so bad because you're dealing with low information podcasters or liars. And I'll just go ahead and presume that Alex is ignorant and not a liar. Low information podcasters interviewing low information or lying politicians for low information voters. And what you have right there is the holy trifecta of low information vortex of misinformation, disinformation, recycling. It's just the same platitudes. Yeah, I'm going to increase $25,000 small business loan because $5,000 isn't enough to start a business, because, some people actually started by saving their own money. Doesn't matter. It's all about spending and buying the vote. But there was one part in particular that, to quote Adam Sandler from They're All Gonna Laugh at You, blew my freaking mind. They are spouting the same lies about that poor woman out of Georgia who died, which they are now claiming was the result of a restrictive abortion Georgia abortion laws, which even Tim Walz had his ass handed to him on a fake news propaganda network, where the story they're saying that the woman, because of I think it's Georgia, I hope it's Georgia, in terms of not getting the information wrong, the woman died because of Georgia's restrictive abortion laws. She went to get health care, baby care, which is abortion, and died. The reality is that she took an abortion medication, which I was told were totally safe and effective, and you can order them willy-nilly online with no repercussions. She took it, started hemorrhaging, and then as a result of hospital medical malpractice, she died. Tim Walz got called out on that. And they go and they repeat that same filthy, pathological lie on the show, but then on the subject of abortion. And they talk about how Donald Trump is a liar. Here, I made the montage. We'll play through this, because I things are in my head and I got to go find the clips and then splice them in to highlight the low information podcaster getting an answer from a liar of a politician.
In the debate, former President Trump claimed that some states are executing babies after birth. Can you just clarify?
That is not happening anywhere in the United States. It is not happening, and it's a lie.
When we talk about third trimester abortions, these are done with the consent of obviously the mother.
I love the fact that the former Virginia governor has to talk that it's done with the consent of the mother. That would lead me to believe at times it's not done with the consent of the mother, but set that aside. When we're talking about third trimester abortions, when they occur, because they occur, he's not making a hypothetical out of his mind here, but according to Kamala Harris, it's a lie, because Kamala Harris is a liar.
The consent.
And Alex Cooper is an idiot who doesn't know the reality. And she's just gone and misinformed. Apparently she got a massive following, which good for her, but
of the physicians, more than one physician, by the way, and it's done in cases where there may be severe deformities. There may be a fetus that's non-viable.
It's a bold-faced lie that he is suggesting that. Can you imagine?
Stop. What do people do when you're in the practice of law? There's an old expression: if she or he is crying, he or she is lying. I find that offensive. They're going to go to, my feelings are hurt, so don't push the issue anymore. And Kamala Harris, the pathological low IQ DEI liar of a politician, she's a DEI liar of a hire. Bada bing, bada boom. What's she going to do?
Can you imagine? He is suggesting that women in their 9th month of pregnancy are electing to have an abortion. Are you kidding? That is so outrageously inaccurate, and it's so insulting.
It's insulting
to suggest
that it's happening,
that would be happening, and that women would be doing that.
Back to Northam.
So in this particular example, if a mother is in labor, I can tell you exactly what would happen. The infant would be delivered. The infant would be kept comfortable.
Look at the woman in the back, by the way.
The
She can't
infant would
believe
be
he's saying this.
resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired, and then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mother. So I think this was really blown out of proportion.
Nope, it wasn't. Listen to this.
It's not happening anywhere.
It's not happening anywhere.
This guy is full of lies. I mean, I just have to be very candid with you.
How late in the third trimester could a physician perform an abortion if he indicated it would impair the mental health of the woman?
By the way, who would do it up until the 9th month if they're alleging mental health issues. And this is Virginia Delegate Kathy Tran. Look at her face.
Physical health.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm talking about the mental health.
So, I mean, through the third trimester. The third trimester goes all the way up to 40 weeks.
Thanks. Okay.
Okay.
Third trimester
to the end of the third trimester.
Goes up
Yep,
to
I don't think
delivery.
we have a limit in the bill.
I don't think we have a limit in the bill. Look at her face. Look at her hands. Look at her hands right now. Holy shit, I'm in trouble. Oh my goodness. Ma'am, are you tapping your
where it's
fingers?
obvious that a woman is about to give birth. She has physical signs of that she is about to give a birth.
She's dilating.
Would that still be a point at which she could request an abortion if she was so certified?
Jeez,
she's dilating.
Now that you say it like that, it kind of sounds like murder.
Mr. Chairman, that would be a decision that the doctor, the physician, and the woman would
I understand
make
that.
at
I'm asking
point.
if your bill allows that.
Yes.
My bill would allow that. Yes.
All right. No, but it's not happening. It's a lie. And I'm sure that Alex Cooper knew that to push back on Kamala Harris when she said it's just not happening, but it's a good thing that it is because it's a woman's choice and it's her body, except for the fact that it's not. That's the whole issue at play here as to whether or not it is only the woman's body when you're at a stage of viability and whatever. All right. It's sickening, Rob A says. But it's absolutely, and you could see it in Virginia Tran's eyes. She's like, well, you say it like that. And I have to admit that it's true. And I have Governor Northam over here saying that it's happening often enough that he knows exactly how it would play out. And then you got Kamala Harris coming up on Alex Cooper's Call Me Daddy, Call Her Daddy, call somebody daddy because it's a sex show, saying it's not happening. Well, awesome. When you got a vice president and a presidential candidate saying things like, I want to talk to the daddy gang, you're losing. And you're an idiot. But if anybody had any doubts, you don't need to go listen to it because it's just about 45 minutes of propaganda. They're saying, oh, Kamala Harris doesn't sit down to do any long format interviews. And then the media is saying, well, look at her schedule this week. She does long format interviews all the time. And then you got the first question coming out of this interview with Alex Cooper.
You don't do too many long form interviews.
Yeah, I wonder why.
What made you want to do Call Her Daddy today?
Well, I can tell you what made me want to do Call Her Daddy today. I'm losing. I'm copying everything Donald Trump does in the campaign. And one of the things he's been doing quite effectively, he and JD Vance, is long format interviews. So I figure I better start doing that. And by long format, it's going to be 40 minutes of bullshit questions coming from an airhead of a podcaster who doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. She sure showed them. Randall Barnes. I don't know who the person is. I'm not making fun of them. I have no good reason to know if I should make fun of this individual. It might be a legit, sincere, good faith guy. 5,126 following and 5,152 followers. So he's engaging in a follow for follow scheme. All right, forget. I'm not going to make fun of him, whatever, because him is not the point here. The point is her schedule. Kamala Harris has and will interview with Howard Stern, Ricky Smiley. I don't know who Ricky Smiley is. Call Her Daddy, we just saw. Matt Barnes and Stephen Jackson, All of the Smoke. That sounds like a good one. Oprah, 60 Minutes, The View, Stephen Colbert, Dana Bash, MSNBC, Univision. Here, let's start with this. We'll start with the number one. A filthy, disgusting, washed-up pervert who's not funny and hasn't been funny for at least 5 years, who has no respect for constitutional rights, Howard Stern. Ricky Smile, I don't know. Call Her Daddy, you can fill in the blank there. Matt Barnes, I don't know them. Oprah, a woman who is friends with more pedophiles than most people want to be friends with. 60 Minutes, absolute bullshit propaganda. The View, mindless, drivel propaganda. Stephen Colbert, a disgusting, mindless propagandist that would make Joseph Goebbels green with envy, who sang the vaccine. Dun, 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 vaccine. Disgusting man. Dana Bash, propaganda. Stephanie Rule, MSNBC, propaganda. Univision, politicized propaganda. Oh, so that's her hard-hitting schedule of long-format interviews, and we saw how that went with Call Her Daddy. Oh, and by the way, in case anybody has lost track of the disgusting, awful, washed-up disgrace of a former self, Howard Stern, when he interviewed Joe Biden just a few months ago. I think it was like 3 months. It was shortly before Joe backed out of the race. And you got, it was one hell of a hard-hitting interview. So I have no doubt if Howard Stern doesn't resort to his disgusting, misogynist, sex-based comedy with Kamala Harris, like he'll ask her how many people she slept with. Ask her what her favorite sexual position is. Ask her to see her naked. Ask her to show her boobs. That's what Howard Stern does. But if he doesn't do that, I'm sure it's going to be just as hard-hitting. as this interview that he did with Joe Biden.
And you're the kind of leader I love, because we're lucky to have you in the Oval Office and serving as the father of the country. Because if you're a good father to your family, which you are, I know you'd be a good father to the country. And I
mean, even Joe Biden is sitting like, holy shit, did he just call me a good father? Like, I know that I'm a lot of things. Maybe a good father ain't one of them, because I know, or maybe he's just envisioning showering with his daughter, or I don't know what got Hunter hooked on crack. But more often than not, there are what psychologists or therapists would look at as not an enabling factor, but rather a contributing factor. You're a good father, and Joe Biden is either thinking of showering with his daughter or has no idea where the hell he is.
I want to thank you for providing a calming influence. I can't fathom a guy walks into the voting booth, especially a military member or somebody, and would vote for someone who says military guys who die are losers. And suckers.
That sounds like a propaganda lie that you're repeating, Joe Biden, much like the propaganda lies that Call Me Daddy was talking about.
In other words, I'm not disappointed in him. I'm disappointed in my fellow Americans. And maybe you can't say that because, the thing I do like about you is I love this about you. You're able to embrace people who didn't vote for you.
Nope.
And you're the kind of leader I love.
He embraces them.
Because we're lucky to have you in the Oval Office.
He embraces them.
Serving as the father of the country. Because if you're a good father to you.
He embraces them. You know what he embraces them with? Handcuffs while he locks them up in jail. So yeah, that's what's on Kamala's schedule for this week. It's going to be a hard-hitting, hard questions interview. But by the way, talking about the 60 Minutes one, there's almost too many highlights to keep up with here. But this is Kamala on 60 Minutes. I do not like 60 Minutes. It is rubbish propaganda. And when you go on rubbish propaganda and you still get your ass handed to you like Kamala Harris does right here, a bumbling idiot is what she is, from friendly media, holy hell, it's bad.
My plan is about saying that when you invest in small businesses, you invest in the middle class, and you strengthen America's economy. Small businesses are part of the backbone of America's economy.
But pardon me, Madam Vice President, the question was, how are you going to pay for it?
Well, one of the things is I'm going to make sure that the richest among us who can afford it pay their fair share in taxes.
What's the fair share?
It is not right that teachers and nurses and firefighters are paying a higher tax rate than billionaires and the biggest corporations. And I plan on making that fair.
But we're dealing with the real world here.
But the real world includes...
How are you going to get this through Congress?
When you talk quietly with a lot of folks in Congress, they know.
Okay, do you know what she was thinking right about here? What about here? Wait, right here. How are you going to get through Congress?
Here.
But we're dealing with the real world here.
But the real world includes...
How are you going to get this through Congress?
Pause. I hope you renewed your life insurance, good sir. We had a deal. What the hell did you just ask me? How am I going to get it done when I haven't been able to get it done for the 3.5 years that I've been integral in passing laws with Joe Biden's regime? What the hell did you just ask me? You better top up on that insurance policy, good sir.
When you talk quietly with a lot of folks in Congress, they know exactly what I'm talking about because their constituents know exactly what I'm talking about.
And
their constituents are those firefighters and teachers and nurses.
By the way, do you see, I am not a body language expert, but I do think I'm pretty darn good. The nostril and the snarl right here. Do you see it actually as in the last frame, but it's right. There's a snarl and a flare in the nostrils. And that is anger that is difficult to hide. Right. It's like an animal showing its teeth. She can't even handle a friendly interview from 60 Minutes without sounding like a bumbling idiot because that's what she is.